Communities and businesses do well when the society that they live in or where they operate in are cleaner and they're safer. And this is the duty and the responsibility of the people that live within that community. And this is where you've got different organizations, the policymakers coming in to ensure that the system is actually functional. Welcome to Rise, Thrive, and Innovate. This is a podcast by the Randburg Chamber of Commerce in the Industry. Today we're having a very important conversation about safety, cleanliness, and the maintenance of the systems that are around the Randburg area. And to have this important conversation, I'm joined by Miss Mary Gillet-de Klerk. She needs no introduction, rather, when it comes to the civil society space. She has worked within the Chamber of Commerce that is here in Randburg. She has worked with different organizations. In fact, she is a founder and CEO of the Johannesburg Organization of Services to the Homeless. So she is quite pivotal to actually have on the podcast today to have this conversation. Mr. Klerk, thank you so much for making time.
Just call me Mary, it's much easier.
All right, Mary. So let's start with the idea behind the Randburg Precinct Management District. What sparked the idea of coming up with this organization, and what are the objectives of this organization?
Okay. As a director of the Randburg Chamber of Commerce and Industry on the board, my portfolio was the rejuvenation of Randburg. And over a number of years, we've tried to get the Randburg Precinct Management District founded and off the ground. There used to be one a number of years ago, but that was declared illegal, and I won't go into the nitty-gritty of it, but so it fell away, and as you and everybody else have noticed, Randburg has basically gone down the drain since then. A number of other such precinct management districts also got affected across the country as a result of what happened in Randburg in 2015. But anyway, suffice to say, we've restarted a completely brand new out-of-the-box one called the Randburg Precinct Management District to give us a safer, cleaner Randburg. The idea is, and this is how all of the other precinct management districts, whether you're in Sandton or Braamfontein or in the inner city or wherever, they all the businesses and in some instances residences put their money into a pot via a levy that's worked out in terms of the size of your property and your rates you pay and whatnot. And that is put into a communal pot, and the precinct management district provides ongoing and sustainable means to keep the area safer and cleaner through the employment of people called safety ambassadors and also cleaners. So the city only provides a certain amount of services, whereas the precinct management district provides the top-up services that the city can't or won't, or for whatever reason doesn't provide, so that the area then becomes constantly clean, constantly safe. And also we create a sense of community by events, and we've got a huge area, huge group of people in the creative arts and music industry in Randburg that need to be harnessed, and we need to showcase new and up-and-coming artists at an atrium in the Hill Street precinct, or get people to understand where they haven't ever been to, such as the President Ridge Bird Sanctuary, and introduce people to Randburg, because if you and I just live in the area or work in the area, we come in, we go to work, we go to whichever office we work at, we do our 9 to 5 and we leave and go home, we don't even even know anything about Randburg.
True.
Whereas if I live in the area, I work in the area, and I don't have a foggy clue about who else lives there, it helps that we actually create a community that I, as an individual, am highly unlikely to go to, say, the Adventure Golf.
Yeah.
Whereas if you and I and a bunch of other people all went together, we would have a party. We would actually enjoy it and have fun. But it's to create that community, to create amongst the business people, to get to know who else is in the area.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to do it via the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, but the other thing is, if we all know that it's being kept clean and I'm paying into a pot that is enabling the area to be kept safe and clean, you know, I'll feel more, this is my Randburg, this is your Randburg. Yeah.
And you're actually hitting the nail on the head with that particular analogy that you've just given, because as a resident of Randburg myself, I found myself with the same questions that you're actually addressing with the Randburg Precinct Management District, where I need to know more of the place, but I don't really get to know what is and who to actually interact with when I want to make a difference and to contribute to the community. And I think that's where the Randburg Precinct Management District actually comes in. What are some of the challenges that you have observed that could have resulted in you taking this proactive stance to start and to launch the Randburg Precinct Management District?
I mean, for one instance is that, you know, you have various cleanup campaigns by the city or a political party or whatever, and they come in and they clean up and they, you know, remove all the homeless people and they remove all the illegal, you know, traders. It doesn't help. It doesn't solve the problem, because they'll be back a week later. We don't have a shelter in the area. We don't have an overnight safe space for homeless people. All the other places, the nearest one is in Rosebank, that's full. Others are in the CBD, and they're also full. So where does a homeless person go to in Randburg? Where does somebody who's trying to get by set up their little stall somewhere, but they don't know the rules. They don't know how you register to become an informal trader, etc. So we want to bring everybody and create an inclusive Randburg. So we want to educate people and say, we'll take you through the process. We won't just literally take your goods and put you in a JMPD vehicle or a SAPS vehicle, and that's just going to make you more angry and more aggressive. We need to bring people on board and say, this is how you do things in the area. Yeah. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. So it develops a community of not just, you know, and we say to people, well, you can't do this on this corner, but we can take you to that corner, which is the same sort of thing, and you can actually do your trade there. So we're bringing people along with us. We're not creating enemies. So the logic behind the whole thing is that we can't just watch Randburg go down the drain, so to speak. So what else do? We need to find sustainable solutions to fixing it. Now, as the Randburg Precinct Management District, we belong to the Gauteng Precinct Management Association, which is of all sorts of other such precinct management districts. So we learn from each other.
Yes.
Not necessarily best practice, because there may not be a best practice. We learn the most promising practices. We also, the GPMA belongs to the International Downtown Association, so we learn from other countries worldwide, because nobody solved, say, homelessness. Nobody solved all these problems. Each area across the world has got its own specific issues, but it's also got similar issues to other areas. Right. So we learn from each other as to how do we, do what is called placemaking. Our idea is that we want to use the idea that Randburg is named after the rand, the currency, because it came into being as a separate municipality around the time that the rand was, inaugurated, so to speak.
Yes.
So we want to create the best value for money for people living and working in the area. So maybe we will have seats like coins. We will have our own mythical coins. We will have our own markets that whereby you trade with rand coins, so to speak, our coinage.
Yes.
And we will involve the art community to help us create stories about the rand, etc. Maybe we'll have storyboards, or like Hill Street, whereby it'll tell the story of currency. And with the train coming to Randburg in the near future, imagine it if we had a branch of the SA Mint here, whereby people can actually know that the Gautrain passes the Mint en route to Pretoria or Tshwane, but that we're telling the story of the rand currency here in Randburg.
I'm already getting excited listening to some of the ideas that you're actually sharing, and as a young person, I want to be involved.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you that people that have got the same mindset as you do have with the Randburg Precinct Management District would want to actually buy into this idea, because it's a wonderful thing to actually behold. And I love the fact that you also speak about Randburg becoming an inclusive environment, and an environment in which business thrive and people and communities and people feel like they belong to a community. So somebody who is watching this podcast and they live within the Greater Randburg area, they want to know what the organization operates. How does the Randburg Precinct Management District operate? How does it function?
Basically, we will have a very small office. We will also have a joint operations command center, working together with the local private security companies, the SAPs and JMPD, so that we will be able to have a focus on the crime, to reduce the crime. We will have signage that when you enter our area, the broader area, it will already say that you're entering our area. That gives people some comfort that they already know that they are entering a more secure area, and that they're being watched. Yeah. So that actually reduces crime in the first place. Seeing people on the ground, boots on the ground, keeping the area clean on a regular basis. And those people will also be part of the education process to say to people, look, public urination, for instance. Yeah. We don't have enough public toilets. We need to direct people to where there are public toilets. We need to create more public toilets. We need to say to people it's illegal to do that. But most people don't know that. They don't know the rules. But if we help people along the way in a nice, friendly fashion, we'll win more friends than create enemies. We hope. So the idea is that all of these events that are happening daily, and whereby we can measure our impacts and say we have picked up X number of bags, and we work with the city and say, look, we will collect all the bags, but please collect them from X spot. Like, instead of once a week, you're going to come 4 times a week.
Right.
And we'll work with Pick It Up, we'll work with JMPD, we'll work with all, because the idea is that we're not enemies of the city.
Okay.
We are there to augment and provide top-up services that they, by their own admission, can't provide or don't have the capacity to do so. So sadly, as in every other city, we've got to do it for ourselves.
True. Yeah. So let's get into, because I love the fact that you actually fleshed out what you could call maybe a plan for the Randburg district or for the Greater Randburg area. Can you take us through a 3-year plan that you've got for the Greater Randburg area to change the face of this area?
Okay, the first year is on the major roads.
Okay.
So we will go from Malibongwe to the N1 highway, the N1 highway on certain roads, to Winnie Mandela Drive on that side, and then from Conrad to Homestead on, that's our broad picture, and we work on the main roads in the first year. In the second year, we work on the Hill Street precinct from the Municipal Triangle all the way to SARS. So we will work on that section, and then we will start moving outwards to the other streets. So it all depends on how much we get in as to how much we can put out, so to speak, in terms of work. Yeah. So if we get all of the major stakeholders, the major businesses to put into this pot, the sooner we get it in, the sooner we can roll out more services. So you would then look at the first year. You would look at a cleaner area of of Republic Road, and people constantly on the street there, yes. And people getting the idea, oh, something's happening.
True.
What is happening? So it starts creating a conversation with people, and they start saying, oh, because we also have banners and signage and whatnot up from the beginning of March, and then we will be able. People say, oh, who's this crowd? How do we get hold of them? We will have all of our social media posts so people can see what's happening. We will have newsletters and, various other means of communication to show people what we're doing, yes. What impact we're making. If we tell people we've collected 600 bags over the last month, they know that it's 600 bags that's made an impact in Randburg. They can see the areas cleaner, and they can see what this money is going to, because it's public money. We are accountable to the public for the work we do, so the sooner we get on the road to doing this from the beginning of March, the sooner we can actually roll out, start showing people the impact we're making.
All right. It's interesting, and I love the fact that you mentioned the idea of transparency. It's a very important aspect of this whole function. And I also want to know the relationship that exists between the Randburg Precinct Management District and the city of Johannesburg. You're working with all these authorities. that are responsible for running the place that we live in. What is the relationship between the Randburg Precinct Management District and the City of Johannesburg, and how does the plan that you have and the plan that the City of Johannesburg have, how do they merge? Are they related?
They complement each other.
Okay.
The City of Joburg, Region B, which we are part of, we have very good relations with the Directorate of Region B already. They, by themselves, admit they can't do everything. So they're more than delighted to work with us, and they work with other precinct management districts. So they know the whole thing of a precinct management district. They also attend some of the meetings of the Gauteng Precinct Management Association. So they're well aware of the system that operates, and that we're not trying to reinvent a wheel, so to speak. We're just trying to duplicate that wheel in Randburg, so to speak. But each area has its own specialities. Randburg is very different to a Sandton, to a Braamfontein, to another area, Johannesburg. But we're all part of Joburg, so we all have to work together.
All right. So maybe let's get into the relations. So this is the public sector, right?
Oh yes, but we have partnership agreements.
Okay.
So that clearly defines what's my role, what's your role, what we expect from.
Where do you start? Where do you end?
Where you start, where you end. We also have the similar sorts of things with like Pick It Up, with like JMPD. So all of these entities of the city, we have clear definition as to what our role is, what their role is, what our mutual expectations are of each other, and what we hold each other accountable for and to.
All right. So this is the public sector. What about the private sector? What partners, who are your partners as the Randburg Precinct Management District within the private sector, and how do you work with these organizations?
Like for instance, we've got a major stakeholder. At the moment, we haven't signed on the private sector. Mm-hmm. We're only going to do that from the beginning of March, because we want to have our office space open, up and running, so people can say, oh, if we need to go there, we know where to go. And that's going to be in Republic Road, so it will be, everybody will see it, because they'll have signage and everything else.
Yeah.
And it's a very nice office space, which has been, donated to us, so to speak, because
the partners
because they can see what we're going to do, and it works for them as well. So if I came to a company in this street, so to speak, or the owners of this particular building, it's in their interest to join us. So we would bill them. How they bill their tenants, they might bill you individually and just say, here's it, instead of paying 20 Rand, you're paying 30 Rand as part of your levy. I'm just using an example. Yes. Because they're saying we're joining this group that's going to improve the whole area, which means that more people are more likely to want to come to your offices, because they know that it's covered by the Randburg Precinct Management Association, the owners of this property know that they're part of a bigger whole.
All right.
And they know that 6 people in the street are also joined.
All right.
So they can see that this street is going to be improved pretty soon, and the value of their properties is going to go up, because if the area is safer and cleaner, then the area is more desirable for people to work and live and play in the area.
All right.
So it's it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, true. So if I'm a business that is actually watching this conversation on the Rise, Thrive, Innovate podcast, and I want to be a part of this change that you are bringing in. But I also have reservations because there was an organization that existed before now, which was responsible for the management of the district. What lessons and what assurances can you give me as a business person that this buy-in is kind of different from the one that was running? And what lessons have you learned from the previous management of the district?
Okay. The one that came to a grinding halt in 2015. We've learned the lessons. We've spoken to the people who connect to that. We've also working with the Gauteng Precinct Management Association and all the other associations countrywide that got affected by the legal judgments. At the time, there have been many lessons learned, and we've all working on a new slate, so to speak, based on the fact that we don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. We want to do something completely different that is in line with current legislation. That is one of the reasons why for the last 2.5 years through the Randburg Chamber and my portfolio, I have been a member of the Gauteng Precinct Management Association, learned from them, spoken to them, found out what's going on, spoken to the previous people, found out what the mistakes that they made, and anybody coming on board with us now will know, and we will be completely transparent on all of our social media, that we've learned from the previous entity. We're not repeating what happened there, but we are making sure that this is going to work in a sustainable way.
All right. Let's get into the different organizations that want to be part of what you're doing with the Randburg Precinct Management District. How does a business that is operating within the greater Randburg area get a hold of you, and how do they participate? What are the channels and what are the ways that they can actually make a contribution as a business?
Okay, they can firstly email us.
Okay.
We've got a form that they can fill in to say that they will pledge a monthly contribution. We've got a bank account. We're in the process of becoming we've just got our first set of annual financial statements. We will have, we're in the process of becoming getting a PBO status, which is a public benefit organisation status, Section 18A, because we are registered with CIPC as a non-profit company. So as a non-profit company, we can apply for Section 18A status. That means that once we've been granted that usually takes about 6 months. With SARS, then they can get tax deductions for any contributions they make to us.
All right.
And so it can become part of their CSI or whatever they want to do. But the fact is that they know that they're contributing to a bigger picture that's actually going to benefit them in the long run.
All right, so that's on the private or on the businesses. So individuals, people that own properties, houses around the great.
It's the same. It's the same thing.
Okay.
It's common. The more the merrier.
Right.
The more we get people to be part of this deal, the quicker we can roll out services, the quicker we can even get into the residential component.
Right.
And we mustn't forget the fact that a number of businesses or properties that used to be corporates have been, especially in the CBD area, have been transformed into residential accommodation. So we need to bring those people on board as well.
All right. So maybe as we part and as we're concluding our conversation, let's get into some of the programs or summits, or do you have any events that you have got lined up that residents and businesses around Randburg can actually participate in?
A number of years ago, a book was published that actually showcased businesses in the area. It's a very lovely, coffee table style book. But what we want to do is we want to have a Randburg fair.
All right.
Whereby, you have a big business, somebody has a small business, you can all have a stall to actually showcase who you are, what you do.
Yes.
Because I may not know that there's a studio here, for instance. It's all these kind of things. So we will amalgamate all the people in the creative arts sector into a section. We also want to have a Randburg urban market that happens on a monthly basis. Many people have been to what is now called the playground in Braamfontein, which happens on a Saturday, whereby local artisanal creative people sell their goods, whether it's edible goods, whether it's clothing, whether it's whatever. And we need to create this community of things. So, and then also we're aiming to have this Randburg Amazing Race sometime later part of the year, whereby, for instance, it'll be a case of you're going to go to SARS and ask a question of somebody at SARS, and then you'll get a stamp from SARS that says that you've been there, and then you have to rush off to somewhere else, maybe to adventure golf and play a couple of holes and get another stamp in this, so to speak, passport. And so people can start learning where they are actually, where things are in Randburg, and actually start saying, hell, well, I've been to President Reg Bird Sanctuary with just myself on this run, but maybe I can go there more often. Yeah. And so people start using the area more frequently.
All right.
And just creating a sense of community.
All right. So I noticed on the website, you've got a form that if someone wants to volunteer, they can actually fill up. So maybe as a parting shot, you can speak to our viewers, people that live within the Randburg greater area, and what is your message to the businesses, to the property owners within the greater Randburg area?
I'd say join us as quickly as possible. Go to our social media posts and find us on our social media posts. And then, you can contact me, Mary. I'm the general manager. And my number is 082-395-1268. And I'm willing to answer any questions you have and meet with you as soon as possible so that we can get you on board and tell you more about us, answer any questions that you personally may have, and also make Randburg cleaner, safer, and the Randburg we all want.
All right, Mary, that's a very beautiful message. Thank you so much for allowing us to have this beautiful conversation today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. So that's a very beautiful conversation we're just having there with Mary. So I'm already excited about the great work and the transformation that Randburg is about to witness. So I call upon you to be part of this transformation agenda. Volunteer and make time to make Randburg a safer and a cleaner space.